Well, good evening. Got a few people in here. Elegant Homestead, Mary's Vegetable Garden, Carrie Hyatt, Grandma Rose, Rosanna, MK Lone Star Handcrafted. Well, I'm so glad you made it for the live show. So how is everybody doing today? Are you all ready for Christmas? Got all your shopping done? And I'm looking like I'm maybe overdoing here a little bit. So does that sound a little better? We'll just turn it down a little bit here. Angel Carr. Hope I'm not butchering any names here, but if I am, please forgive me. Wheat Tree. Thank you for stopping in. Always good to see you. Mrs. Country Homestead Preacher, good evening to you. So, what did everybody do this week? Everybody put together at least one video and get it uploaded and without issues, or did you have some problems, or is there something you want to chat about, talk about? Any problems you had? Anything new that you learned? Anything that you might want to change if you had it to do over again? Kind of share it in here, and we can all learn from it. I actually, we put out a video here this past week where we used two cameras, and actually one was a video cam and the other one was an iPhone. And you know, it's very easy with an iPhone to have the settings wrong, to have it display as a what is it, 19 as a 16 by 9 or 9 by 16. 16 by 9 is your full width screen, and typically with an iPhone, when you or any phone, when you hold it up in this fashion, you get a 16 or a 9 by 16 instead of 16 by 9. This is the way that gives you the full width on the screen. So with Filmora, if your phone for whatever reason records in this fashion, but you didn't mean for it to, depending upon how the subject took in the video. Where am I going with this? We do an overhead shot with this phone, and with that I have it in a horizontal position, and I frame it in a horizontal position looking down. I have it hooked to a board hanging out above one of Sherry's cupboards, and for some reason this phone records in a 9 by 16 even though it's horizontal. And I think it's because it's pointing down when I get it started. It's taking the picture that I want, but when I get the footage back out of it, it's in this format. Now with Filmora, you can take that format and you can simply twist it. You can rotate it 90 degrees and it will fill the screen, and then take that and render it, export it, and then you have it in the proper format for whatever editing you want to do. If you don't have a lot to do, you don't have to render it first. You can just turn it, twist it, and do what you want. But a lot of the problems with some softwares is, you know, every time you do this, you're not hurting the original file. So it may be in such a way that the video going into memory with all the twisting, turning, cutting, slicing, effects, titles, everything else is actually bogging you down. So a lot of times it's easier just to take baby steps. Just take the video, get it the orientation that you'd like to have it, export it, and then work with that. And of course, they also have the instant cutter that as you go into the Filmora program, it's on the page that first comes up, as you see beside me on the screen here. Let's see if I can do this right. Yeah, right over here. There's an instant cutter, which in very short order can take a large video file and cut it down to size, make it very easy for you to use. So let me get back over here to the chat and see what we got going on here.
Just chat. Somebody said they've done that and it's frustrating.
Did I get your email earlier today?
To me. Carrie says my phone has done that a few times. It's aggravating.
What's that?
Carrie said my phone has done that a few times and it's aggravating.
It is aggravating. It's very aggravating. I think I can give you, I can show you anyway, a good example of that. If I haven't gotten rid of the files, let me bring the program up here, and let's go out and see if I still have some of those files. I'm not sure that I do. Well, this is one right here. So I'm just going to import this just so you can see what I'm talking about. All right. This is exactly what I was talking about. The phone is above this kitchen island. I don't even know what video this was. I'm just, again, using this for a demonstration. And you can see that the orientation is wrong, but it's still recorded in the right way. It recorded what I wanted to see it record. So let me bring that down into the timeline. And if you take this, you can just turn it. As you can see, it's now in the full screen orientation that you'd want to work with. Depending upon what content you have in the video. Oh, I know what this was. This was the Tanner's Pecan, wasn't it?
How is the music on this program?
How is the music? The music that's within Filmora, is that the question? Okay. The Filmora does supply you with some music, and you can use their music. Now, having said that, I've used their music on some productions that we've done, and I have gotten a copyright strike here and there. But as soon as I contest that copyright strike and say, I have the rights to use this music because I have a licensed version of Filmora and the music came with Filmora, the copyright strike goes away, just disappears. So.
Grandma Rose, Daryl, I've discovered on my iPhone that if I accidentally record a 9:16, I can rotate it using the iMovie app on my phone before importing to my computer.
That's another possible way to do it, absolutely.
Do you recommend buying a lifetime of Filmora?
I do.
And using eBates before you do it?
I am not the eBate person. Sherry is the eBate person. She can She can attest how well Ebates works. I think it works pretty darn well because she uses it all the time.
Yeah. Do you recommend, well, I already did, Nate, the Googler, Nate, is preview rendering necessary in Filmora? It takes forever on a high quality video for me.
Is it necessary? I'm going to say no, it's not necessary. It's not going to affect the final outcome. What you may have, depending upon the amount of editing you do, the amount of additions that you do, perhaps adding a second or third or fourth picture-in-picture tracks or video tracks. In previewing that, the sound and the video may become totally discombobulated, where nothing matches, doesn't look well. But if you stop midstream, for example, if I get my mouse back down here, if I play this a little bit.
Georgia, I will put their
and let it catch up.
Link down below.
Start it again. So you're satisfied with what you've done as far as splicing together the video. When you export it, it will be fine. Now, I know that there was a thing here a few months ago. In one particular version, they apparently had for a short period of time, they had a version that it was off by just a little bit. But they corrected it, and on the next update, it was fine. And if you wrote support, they gave you a link to go get the software before they actually publicly released it. They said, here's a beta thing. We feel sure this will fix it. I never had the issue. I don't know what the magic items were that caused it. But when you stop and think about it, they have this software program available for Mac and Windows. And let's just look at Windows. It can run on an AMD processor or an Intel chipset. Some of these chipsets and processors that people are using this on are 7, 10, 12 years old, maybe older. Could have 2 gig of memory, it could have 20 gig of memory, it could have single core, quad core. There's so many variations. And this is one of the things that's always been, I think Windows has been bashed for. You know, they're saying, well, your system's not stable and this and that. Well, you stop and think how many different platforms you can run Windows on, and it's pretty amazing what they do.
David Howell asked if you use the free music on Filmora, and I said yes, you do.
Yes, I have used the free music on Filmora. I have also had a copyright claim against it, but stating in a dispute with the copyright claim, I said the music came with my licensed version of Filmora. I bought Filmora, it came with Filmora, and we used it. And then it's fine. So.
ATOC Lifestyle, I use Adobe's Premiere. How does this compare?
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that. Adobe Premiere Pro is probably the standard. It is the most widely used by professionals. But it's a much heavier software. You could do so many more things with Adobe Premiere. Here's the problem. There's a large learning curve. Adobe Premiere takes a lot of horsepower to run. It's not as user-friendly. It's not as intuitive as what this software is. I feel that for somebody either just getting started or does not want to get into advanced editing. And when I say advanced, I mean multiple camera shots, creating 4K quality videos for more like a movie production type thing. No, this is not what you want. But to go out and spend $60 and own this program for life, you can't beat that. You get every update they come out with, and it's very intuitive. It's easy to use. It has a lot of features that you don't get in a lot of the free versions of software. There is support, and it's used by a lot of people.
David Howell, who is Kate's husband, being new at doing inside Kate's kitchen, I chose Shortcut for video, and I used Audacity for auto editing. I've had pretty good luck with those.
Well, that's fine. Audacity is a fantastic auto editing program. Anybody that
Maria's chuckling. Advanced, I can't even do basic.
Audacity is, and I use that. I'll just bring it up so people can see it here. This is a freeware program, folks, and it is extremely powerful. But this is audio only. This has absolutely nothing to do with a video. Absolutely nothing. But with this program, you can record. You can record via microphone. You can take and import sound. You can modify it. You have all of these different things you can do. They have what they call an auto duck. Now what that does is that'll change the volume based upon some other piece. You can change the pitch, change the speed, change the tempo, all kinds of filters. They have compressor built into it, echo, equalization, fade in, fade out, invert, leveling the sound, noise reduction, normalize. It's an incredibly robust program that doesn't cost anything. So on the other side of that, it's got a big learning curve. Has a big learning curve. But there are videos out there to help you do that. So if you'd ever like to play with the audio portion, I would certainly recommend you try this.
Briz, you can remove unwanted sounds with Audacity.
You can remove unwanted sounds with Audacity, and there's other audio editing programs out there you can do that with. Audacity happens to be free, and it's extremely powerful. It's kind of like we use OBS because it's free. It's open source, and it's widely regarded as the best software to use for encoding to do a live stream, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitch or Patreon or any other platform, including Facebook. Open broadcast software is widely regarded as being the king of the hill, to the point where because it's open source and it's free, it allows people to take the program and modify it. And there are companies that have done that, and they've said, okay, we've taken OBS and now we've made it better suited for them because they wanted to add little widgets and this and that. Streamlabs is who I'm talking about. So Streamlabs has their own version of OBS where they've added a lot of their own widgets and notifications and bells and whistles. Because again, with OBS, there's a learning curve. It doesn't come with an with an information file or here's how you use it file. But it's not that bad, and there's plenty of help. There's plenty of help available. So, okay, did we find an email that he sent?
That who sent?
This MK Lone Star handkerchief?
That's a she, and the email
It's she?
was to me.
Oh,
I said that earlier.
I'm sorry. I was concentrated on this other stuff.
No, that email was to me.
Okay,
It's handled.
it's handled.
Yeah. It's about a serger.
Oh, I know what that is.
But you're lucky if you-
That's the thing that I'm going to have to thread needles on again.
Yeah, I had taken out the box. Yeah, yeah. But you're lucky because she's in Texas.
Why would that make me lucky?
Because I'd probably own another one if she was local.
Wait a minute. You have one that's still in the box here, right?
Yeah, that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I can't have another one. You have more than one screwdriver, right?
I am not certain that that is even a fair comparison.
Well, sure it is.
And
Oh,
and I don't know that they're hearing you. I need to turn your mic up.
no, they don't need to hear me.
What do you mean they don't need to hear you? That way they can see how much abuse you put me through here. I should have a camera on her because I am getting the dagger looks.
Come to bed at 6 a.m. Don't even go there.
All right. So, where are we at here? What, food forest permaculture, waiting on an early spring to start a nursery for a move in the next year or so.
Terry, our birthday girl, I'm having to learn how to go live with OBS.
Oh,
She was live yesterday
she was.
before we went on.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good.
But I don't know what she was using. But yeah, I was in her chat for a few minutes.
What, did you have a specific question about OBS that I could attempt to answer? Or just a general one, or? You use YouTube Live. That's the easiest way to go live, without question. It probably gives you a, depending upon if you have some antivirus software or protection software on your computer, it's going to ask you, and you're going to have to allow it to use the camera, to use the microphone, and then it attaches those items, and it probably says "smile for a snapshot," I'm guessing, and it takes this picture where you can make a funny face that'll be the thumbnail of the video, and away you go. Well, OBS is a little bit different. Actually, it's a whole lot different. Let me.
Terry says I have Norton in my computer. Yep, it does that.
Okay.
Little Creek, Vicky. What is OBS? Open Broadcast System.
Open broadcast system, yes.
Explain that.
All right, I'll show you that here in just a moment. Okay. So this is maybe not going to be viewable, but we'll find out here. Let me bring it over. This is a picture of OBS. This is the broadcast screen. The window over here on the left that I have the mouse hovering over, That is my preview window for the scene to come up. What we're broadcasting is this window on the right. And if you notice right down here, this one says stop streaming. If I click that button, then we're done. It also has a recording feature, so I can actually record the show locally here. And
Vicky's asking, is that the program I have to get?
no, you don't have. You certainly do not have to have this, but once you get over the initial few steps in learning about it, I would say this is a program you're going to want to have, because you have so much control over what you share, building of the various screens, where I can very quickly, what I'll do, if you notice, this is the screen that I'm not broadcasting over here. So I will cut that over, and that's the screen I'm now broadcasting. I moved it to the other side. What gets a little bit funny in this picture is it repeats itself, because it says, okay, here's the screen you're broadcasting, here's the screen, and this just goes on to infinity. So it's very difficult to show you in that fashion.
Vicky says we've only ever gone live from my cell phone.
Okay. And that's certainly a wonderful way to start. The recommendations I would have for going live from a cell phone, number one, put it in some sort of a holder, either a tripod or in some fashion that's propped up. That's number one. Number two, let me bring this back over. Number two, you're always going to want to hold the phone horizontal. That will give you your full screen that you get, instead of the 6 by 19, 19 by 6?
Yeah. When we're in the, well, you can tell them when we're in the vehicle traveling, that's what we use as YouTube Live.
Yeah. Well, we are traveling and maybe doing a live stream from the road. This is what Sherry uses. Or her phone, and it's held in the horizontal fashion, which gives you the nice full screen. You can always tell if somebody is holding the phone in this fashion, because the orientation of the screen is wrong for YouTube. It's not wrong, but it doesn't fill the screen, and you have the black bars on the outside of it. And actually, that's what we were just talking about here in this particular video. Originally, it was the up and down. Let me go back. That's the way the phone recorded it. And I just rotated the video 90 degrees. And what Filmora does is it fills the entire screen, because I have it set to fill the screen. What you will find with, and I can't even do it with this, but what you will find with other editing programs is, yes, you can do this, but it leaves the video the same size physically as it is right here. Let's see, how can I show this? I think I know. Let me remove this. And I'm going to put it down in a picture-in-picture track. Okay. And I'm going to turn the video 90 degrees. Many editing programs will do this, and then you have to resize the video to fit in the screen. Now, the reason this is acting like this, I have it in the picture-in-picture track, which you can certainly use. But now I have to come in and I have to resize the video to make it fit full screen. It's just an extra step. Whereas if this video, let me pull it back out. Is on the primary timeline, and I go into edit it and I just rotate the video, it automatically fills the screen for you. The only way I can resize this at this point is to go in to the crop and zoom area. Now, when you go into it like this, because the original video is up and down and I've rotated it, it ignores any modifications you've made on it for the crop and zoom. This is where it gets very, very confusing. So that's why I say just turn it and go ahead and render it, export it out as a new file in the proper orientation. But you can do this. See, I can crop it down. If I say okay, then that's the way it will look. It's just that while you're doing it, you're working in two different orientation platforms. Depending upon how much you want to do within that, it can give you a headache. Just turn the video like this. Say okay. Let me go back because I don't want it. I want the native video. Just say okay after you've turned it and export it. That way you have a video that's already in the proper orientation. You can always see these if you're looking in your Explorer, your File Explorer. This will show you right away. This video is in the wrong orientation. And these other ones are in the correct orientation. Now, if you notice, I think you can probably see this. The one that's in the wrong orientation, as well as this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Those are all .mov files, movie files. These all were done with an iPhone in our particular case. I don't know what an Android, if it does it as a .mov file or what. But my camcorder creates the files as an MP4. So these files were done with the camcorder, whereas these files were done with an iPhone. Yet I can mix those. I can put them all into Filmora. It recognizes those formats and more, and allows you to blend them, put them all together, however you want to handle it. So I'm gonna grab this one. So I have this video, which is turned 90 degrees on the timeline. We'll say okay. And I'm going to come up to this area, and I'm going to split the video. Now what I can't do here is I can't just move this thing aside and give myself room in here. If I want to add something else into that, I bring it down to the timeline, bring it over to the cut, and let go, and it will drop it in. Filmora always keeps your timeline, your primary timeline, tight so that there's no blocks. which is another plus. I have seen some people using other programs where they have this black blotch between different scenes that they've cut and edited, because a lot of video editing programs, a lot of the big expensive video editing programs, do not maintain this tightness on the timeline. And there's sometimes that's a hassle.
Nate is saying, I record with my phone because it has a good camera. It splits very large videos into segments, each max at 4 gig. I have some of the splits of the same video some video be rotated.
Yeah. Isn't that aggravating? Well, like I say, when you go into your file explorer, you can see which one of those are in the wrong orientation. Just grab that video, that part of it, drag them down in here, rotate them, put them in the right formation, and export them right back into that same folder, so they're very easy to find, and then start your editing. It's an extra step, but, well, that's just part of editing. I don't know what else to say. There's a couple other ways. If you're working on a video and you want to split it, you want to put something else in it. One way is you can just do a right click, and you can do what's called a freeze frame. Most editing programs have this feature. When we click that, what it has done, it has split the video, and it's created a JPEG, a picture.
Nate's asking, have you ever figured out why they do that?
Why?
It splits them like that?
No. No, I'm going to say that's a phone issue. So I now have, and by default it's 5 seconds if you haven't changed any of your default settings. You now have a 5-second still JPEG picture inserted into your video. So as you're watching this,
down to Columbus to my
goes
old
on and stops, just freezes it for 5 seconds,
grandchild, my
and
grandson.
starts back up. Well, here's what you can do with that. Let's just say that you wanted to create a thumbnail out of this picture. So you go ahead and do a freeze frame. Grab that freeze frame. Move it off to the side. As soon as you do that, the original movie goes back together. Nobody could ever determine there was a split
down
here.
To Columbus to my oldest grandchild, my grandson.
There's no hiccups.
He got the first piece.
And now you have, and this is also on your hard drive, but you do have to kind of go search it out. And unfortunately, I think I have mine set in an area that is quote-unquote non-standard. So, but it's not that hard to do. So now I've got this picture that I want to use for a thumbnail, and I want some wording on that, so I go into my my title area here, and we'll just grab any of these, it doesn't matter, and we'll drag it underneath this 5-second JPEG. Let's go ahead and edit it. I always recommend that you go into Advanced Editor. And in the Advanced Editor, you're going to see that there's 3 sections to this editor. The first section, this is this square bar that your title is here, is inside of. There's not a lot you can do with this. In some cases, you can't do much of anything except resize it. In this particular case, it can be changed as far as coloring. You can use a solid color fill, or it can be graduated, where there's two different colors. And so we'll go with an orange and a bright yellow.
Grizz is asking if freeze frame is the same as snapshot. Freeze frame is a song, Grizz. Oh, sorry. That's where my mind went.
No, it is not the same thing, but it's very similar.
Nate, what would you say would be the absolute minimum specs for Filmora?
And you're talking probably about a PC, and we have enough people in here that we're going to have everything from a couple $100 laptop to maybe a full-blown gaming computer that approaches or exceeds a couple $1,000s. It will run on any of those. It'll just run faster on some than others. Nate, you and I had a little discussion here the other night, and I'm sorry I did not get back to you on that one particular question, but we were talking over on my particular PC the amount of processes, the amount of memory and CPU clock cycles that Google Chrome was using, because it by itself was using 70% of my system resources. It's just insane.
Did you answer Grizz's? If is freeze frame a better picture than snapshot for thumbnails?
No, it's not better. It's just another way to do it. The freeze frame actually goes in and slices the video.
Terry's asking, can I use Filmora to work on my banner for my channel?
Absolutely, you can do that. Let me go back into this area here, just again to show you what I started here. So I've changed the color of the square. The second line down is your title here.
Marie wants you to talk English, because this is going to drive her to drink.
Now there's a couple things I can do with this. I can come up here and I can change the size of the font to make it fit. I can also grab the little squares on the side, squeeze it together to make it fit. I can add a border around the letters. I can add a shadow. Can increase that shadow. There's a lot of different things you can do to spruce it up, make it your own. The third line is, again, whatever you'd like to do, or you could just eliminate that line, highlight that line, press the delete key, and it's gone. So now we'll say OK. If you want this as a snapshot, now what you do is you play over top of this JPEG to where you want it and just stop it. Now make your snapshot, which is this button right here. So now that snapshot, and that I know is in my default area. You'll find that if you've installed it on a Windows system with the default settings, it's under Documents, Wondershell Filmora, open that up, User Source, and then Snapshot. So right here is the snapshot we just created. I have to move that back down to this screen so you can see it. So this is a snapshot we just created. It's a perfect size snapshot to upload if you want a custom snapshot for your videos. And I think you can also see that you can create some really great snapshots with Filmora without having to go out and some third-party program somewhere. And the tools within Filmora for making snapshots are outstanding. Maybe a couple extra steps, maybe a couple extra things you don't want to do, but the versatility is tremendous. So we'll close that up. We'll close this back up. Where was I? Grizz wanted to know the difference between the snapshot and the
Freeze frame.
freeze frame. The freeze frame, if I'm in the video, I decide that this is an area I want, yeah, I can take a picture. Let me do that. Here's a picture. And you can see I put it in here. It numbered the snapshot as 12. I can go right back into the file manager and our file explorer and find it. I know exactly where it is. And if you notice, it did not do anything to the video here. It just stopped it and took a picture. Whereas if you do a freeze frame, it actually split the video. So what this allows you to do, and I use this technique on a number of the videos that we do. When we get to the end of the video, let me clean some of this out. Let me just delete some of this. I'll get right to the very end of the video, and I will do a freeze frame. And then I can resize it out for, it's 5 seconds to start with. So I can either stretch it out in this fashion by dragging it. If it's highlighted, I can go to this little clock and tell it how long I want it to be. So I'm going to say I want this to be 25 seconds at the end of the video. We'll say okay, and that's the way it is. And the reason I do that is because this gives you a place to put your end cards and other things that you see at the end of the video that YouTube likes for you to put that stuff in there, and they think they're creating a great service for us, which they do. It's fine. But
I'm sorry, Nay's asking if you ever figured out what was going on with those processes and errors you had.
Yeah, and I'll get back to that in a minute, but that's a little bit off topic here. I mean, it kind of ties to it, but when I come, what this freeze frame allows you to do, like at the end of the video, is when it plays to the end of the video, Sherry usually says, "We'll see you next time," or say goodbye, and it just freezes the picture. So now here's the other thing you can do with that picture, just to dress it up a little bit. Let's throw a filter on it. I'm going to take this light leaks, and I'm going to throw it underneath, and I'm going to stretch it out the length of that. So now when we play this, it adds some movement to a still picture. And that's all fine and good if you don't like that. I mean, there's hundreds more. We could add some fire under the picture, so when you play that, it's still cooking. We can go into overlays. We can put a frame around it. So now when you play it, it just put a frame around that still shot. take that back out. Let's look at some elements. Well, now we can, and of course these are resizable. So there is just all kinds of things you can do to doctor it up and make it your own. Okay, Nate, as far as getting back to the processes thing, quite frankly, this was something that had been sneaking up on me. And let's see where I'm at right now. I'll bring this down so folks can see it. I've opened up my task manager. And you can see with everything that's going on my PC right now, I'm running Chrome, I'm running OBS, I'm running Filmora, I'm running some other services in the background, the sound and everything, and I'm sitting here with 30 to 40% CPU usage. And Nate would be the first one to tell you, when we looked at this the other night, I'm running at 94, 95%. I wasn't doing as much as I'm doing right now. And the culprit was Google Chrome. I have this set that it's based on the CPU usage. Well, Google Chrome is still one of the top users, but not like it was. Here's what happened. I had added some different things to Google Chrome, and there were some things added to Google Chrome that I was not aware of. Let me just bring this up. If you open up Chrome, they have, and go into the settings, under more tools, you'll find the word extensions. So if you go in here and you look, they have a Dropbox for Gmail. They have Google Docs. They have Google Hangouts. This is my antivirus program. I'm not sure what this Safe Search Plus is. I haven't researched that. They have a security browser thing. But here's some other ones. Social Blade. I had this. I had a speed test because I thought, gosh, that's handy. I could just check my upload and download speed very quickly. TubeBuddy has an extension. vidIQ has an extension. And there's other applications. There's docs. And again, the Hangouts, the Sheets, and Slides. Well, most of these were turned on. They were enabled. So I came in here and I shut everything off. I shut everything off.
Nate is saying Chrome is horrible for resource usage. He uses Firefox a lot when he needs a browser without resource usage.
I use Firefox. I use Chrome. I use Chrome around YouTube primarily. I mean, it's their deal. It's Google YouTube. It's Google Chrome. It's Google this, Google that. If you're using the same platform, you should have the most realistic experience out of it you're gonna get. But I also use Microsoft's browser, so different things for different areas. But what had happened was a lot of these were turned on. Hangouts was turned on. My antivirus thing was turned on. The speed test, the Social Blade, the TubeBuddy, the vidIQ, all of those things were all turned on. And it was absolutely eating up my processes. So now that I've turned those off, okay, it's not as handy. I don't have the little button to click right at the top of the browser screen. But, hey, I'm back to a pretty good working little laptop again. So you can find the same thing with an editing program. It could be what you're running in the background is killing your performance as far as creating or exporting those files. So anyway, we'll minimize that.
Nate said he's glad you got that fixed.
Yeah, me too. I'm real glad I got it fixed. I was not a happy camper. Okay. I don't even have any idea how many. Let me see what time it is.
It's 8:56.
Oh, okay. Well, here I am, almost rattled on for an hour. And I know that there's been more people come in that I haven't acknowledged. I apologize. Country Girl, I see you're here, and Duncan 1900. Homestead, Grizz, always a pleasure to have you in here. And for those of you that don't know, Grizz threw the gauntlet down at me and sent me 24 video clips to join together for everybody. If you missed that episode, go back and look at it. I think we had a lot of fun that night. And we did a lot of...
Yeah, that video got quite a few views for him. So
yeah. He got more than 5 views on it, too, so... Well, Country Girl, just like I've told everybody here, I will help anybody here the best that I can. If you run across something in the middle of the week or something, shoot me an email. As soon as I see it, I will get back with you. And we can set up a time for me to call or whatever's necessary. Or if you send me an email, call me now or call me as soon as possible. I'll do that. Grizz, there was 24 videos. I was counting 24. Don't make that any easier than what it was. David Howell, good evening, sir.
David Howell is inside Kate's kitchen husband.
Oh, okay. Great. All right. So, what else do we have going? Anything? How many is in here? I don't have that screen up.
24.
24, wow.
26 now.
Red Duchess Farm is in here.
Oh.
So she's not talking to the mic. I'm not hearing her here.
No, I didn't see him come in. He just got here.
Oh, okay. Anybody have any questions on something else that we can cover very quickly?
David Howell says, enjoying your podcast. You're doing all the things I want to do. If I install Filmora trial, is a watermark annoying?
Yes, it is. It's annoying from the standpoint you don't want. I would not publish a video using the trial. If you just want to experiment with it and put it on your PC and fully knowing that it's there and you're not going to create this video for public presentation, by all means, because all the features are there. It's not a top-down version. It's the full version, but it does put a big watermark on it that says, hey, Filmora did this, or something to that effect. And I would not publish it like that. But by all means, test it that way. And it's a clean program, too. If you go to the website, download the program, it's an easy install. It's an easy uninstall. It doesn't put junk all over your computer. It's a good program. Yeah, I'm not saying Filmora is the end-all editing program. It is not that, but it is certainly well above average. It gives you a lot of features. It's easy to use. It's intuitive. It helps you make a better-looking video, especially somebody that's relatively new to making videos. It gives you more of a polished look. And because if you... They have two versions. They have an annual fee. So if you want to do, I think it's $40 or something. I think it's $40 to buy it for a year. Or if you spend $60, you have it for lifetime. To me, that's a no-brainer. You just cough up the extra $20 and buy it for a lifetime. I've run it for years. I still use the program. I use other programs. You can't create smudge talking in Filmora. That just doesn't happen. But I can create smudge talking and bring him into Filmora and put him into videos that you see for some of those folks that...
Marie says, will it stop the shaking?
Will it stop the shaking? It does have. And if I go, I think you can maybe see here, if I go up to this, excuse me, this video clip that's in here, they have what's called video stabilization. And of course, if I click on that, it will bring up this screen, and it will stabilize the video. It has different degrees. When it is finished, you can preview it here to make sure it's the way you like it. Then you save it, and you then have your stabilized video. It does a pretty good job. So you can stabilize the video. They also have scene detection. So this is a 6-minute video. Yeah, and just because of the nature of this video, here we go. What this is going to do, this is going to go through the video and determine, based upon the different qualities that it sees within the video, it's going to break it up into sections. And it certainly is not a perfect thing. I mean, this is not an invisible eye watching the video with your brain behind it. But it at least gives you a starting point that you can then determine, okay, maybe I want to take this whole section, I want to take it out, because that part is not necessary. This is one way to shorten your videos. If you've got a 40-minute video that you record and you want to get it down to 10 minutes or something, this is a good starting point. It's a good starting point. It takes a little bit of time to go through it. I'm going to go ahead and stop it. But this, for what I let it go, as long as I did, excuse me, it determined 3 different scenes. You can see these are not very long. This first one is 9 seconds. This next scene is a total of 27, no, 9 seconds, 18 seconds, 17 seconds. And so it will go through and break this up. You say apply, it drops it down the timeline. You can then fully edit it, pull out those sections, or add to them, use them as split marks, add still thumbnails in there. So I think that will probably do it here for this evening.
I gotta talk for a few minutes. I'm looking for something.
Oh, Carrie, thank you for stopping. Yeah, 1870s Homestead is doing they do a live stream on Tuesday nights. So, don't forget, next Monday night we have Making of a Farm Girl. Is that correct?
Farm Girl in the Making.
Farm Girl in the Making.
Yeah.
I got turned around.
Yeah, Ann was at the HOA.
She was at the HOA both years, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
She's one of the founders of the HOA.
Yeah. But we're going to have her on next Monday night. And then, folks, it's already coming. The week after that, it will be Christmas Eve. And for that show, for that night, we will have Big Bear Homestead. And we may have some other surprises in the works here.
Yeah, it's 9:07, Daryl.
I know, but you said to wait, so I'm
done.
killing time.
I posted it.
Oh, okay.
They were talking about homemade fudge, so I went out and got Harold, Vicky's recipe.
Oh, okay.
So I was nice enough to do that for him.
Okay. New Year's Eve will be Andy's Backyard Shop. Did I say that one right, or did I twist it around? And again, for New Year's Eve, we're working on another surprise thing for people to stop by if they're stuck at home, or they get home early, or went out to eat dinner and get home and their kids are out having a Christmas party or something and they want something to do. We're going to try to supply some of that entertainment for you. So, wish everybody the best. Everybody have a wonderful week. Anything you want to say, hon? No?
No.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you next Monday night. Bye-bye.